Today we're diving into the world of marjoram. This is the far cousin from oregano and they're quite hard to tell apart. In this video we are going to show you how to preserve it and how we use it in our household. And of course I'm going to show you how to distinguish between oregano and marjoram, the two very look-alike cousins that are nothing alike. I harvested about half a crate of marjoram sprigs for this video, and as I cut I always make an effort to shape the bush back into a large ball shape, leaving about 15 centimeters or 6 inches of stalk length from the core of the plant. This way it grows back nice and bushy and even. So let's first discuss how we can tell marjoram apart from oregano. Marjoram and oregano to the untrained eye can look very similar, yet they have some very distinguishing features. First of all, oregano grows in wild sprig-like fashion, while marjoram grows into much denser and round bushes. Secondly, the color of oregano is much more vibrant green, as opposed to marjoram, which is a little more towards silver green and also is much more furry or velvety to the touch. As for the stem, marjoram has a brownish reddish stem, as opposed to oregano, which has a green stem. They are both members of the mint family, which can be distinguished by its square stem and its leaf growth, which is opposite and paired, meaning not alternating. Now another way to tell them apart is by the taste. So ooh, there's a little beetle on here. You're going back into the garden. So marjoram is much more mild and it has a very floral scent to it, and even when you taste it, it has a slight bitterness, but you still have that floral note coming through. Oregano, when it's fresh, has a much more peppery flavor, and actually in this variety, which is the Italian one, you're harvesting the flowers. So right now we're not using this yet. We're going to let this come into flower and then we're going to let it dry, and then the flowers actually get crumbled up and that gives that very intense floral aromatic, tongue twister, floral aromatic, which is the well-known pizza oregano flavor that we're all accustomed to. It doesn't have that scent yet. In order to dry this beautiful herb so that you can either use it in cooking later or you could use it as a tea, there are a few very important things to think of. And if you look at more of our herbal series, how to preserve them, this is going to come as no surprise, because I have mentioned with other herbs before that it is of essence that you try to retain as much aromatic power of this herb as you can. And the way to do that is to cold dry them or cool dry them in a dark space. Excess heat will actually take away from the quality of the herb and from its potency. So the best way to dry a herb is with time, and that means that 7 days in a dark space where it's nice and dry and where you have a little bit of a draft coming through is the perfect place to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to bushel these up and hang these in a dark, cool space and then come back to them 7 days from now, and I'm going to show you how to then harvest it from the bushel. I first go through the batch to see if I accidentally harvested any other renegade plants that were growing in between the marjoram plant. I then lay them out in bushels of a small handful and I tie them up with some elastic bands. The reason I use elastic is that it will tighten as the bushel shrinks. With ropes, the herbs sometimes tend to fall to the floor. After the tying, I then string the bushels along a rope, which I suspend in my pantry, which is the coolest and darkest room I have in my house. And there you have it. This way you can place them apart, so there's a nice airflow, and I'm just going to hang this in the pantry on a dark, cool space. Next step is removing the leaves from the stem. This is best done in a plastic bag to catch all the crumbling goodness. Once they are all removed, you can funnel these leaves into a clean jar. Close it well so no air comes in, and then label it with the name of the herb. Marjoram, of course, in this case. I label the lids and don't use stickers. That saves me a lot of trouble when I want to reuse jars, and I really never have to peel any stickers off any jar, which is horrendous, as you already know. Now this is a great tip for if you want to use your marjoram fresh, but you hate plucking the little leaves from the semi-wooden stems, which you could of course do as such, or if you want to follow the internet hype, where is the grater? If you want to follow the internet hype, you can pull each sprig through the hole of your grater by starting to push the top through one of the small holes and pulling it. Personally, I just like doing it with my hands instead of with the grater, even though that looks like a great internet hack. But personally, I don't think it's actually much faster or easier than just hand rinsing it. So that's what I'm gonna do. And then once that is done, I'm gonna show you what to do with the sticks. It's taking a little while, but we're gonna soldier on through. Alright, so I have stripped the leaves off of most of the stems. The stems are here, don't throw them away, we're going to use them. And I have here still one big bushel of unstripped leaves, which we'll be using first in the next recipe, which is infused vinegar. We are making an apple cider vinegar infused with marjoram that, depending on when you strain it, can be used either as a culinary vinegar to make delicious dressings or as a digestive tonic or tincture. For the first option, you will need to strain it after a maximum of only 1 day. If you want to get the tonic or tincture, it takes up to 2 weeks. For the recipe, you will need 1 teaspoon of dark mustard seeds, 2 small dried chilies, 1 teaspoon of black peppercorns, a clove and a large bushel of fresh marjoram, and of course 1 3/4 cups or 450 ml of apple cider vinegar. Place all the dry ingredients into the bottle and finally push the herbs inside the bottle. Then pour over the apple cider vinegar, close and set aside. We are using ours as a tonic to improve digestion after a fatty meal, so use with caution and don't consume this in large amounts daily. You will be able to dilute it with 1 teaspoon or 5 ml against 250 ml or 8.5 fluid ounces of water and drink it as a digestive tonic. Do not drink it daily if you're pregnant though. As promised, I'll also show you what we do with the dried stems. After drying, I first recycle the elastic bands and get all the dried sprigs together in little bunches. I tie these up with a string, and these little smoke bushels is what we use to either start the fire in a barbecue, or we also use it to enhance the smoke when we're using our smoker to give our meat and veggies an extra little bit of flavor. Store these bushels in an airtight container, they keep till forever. The next thing up is the delicious marjoram-infused honey. So this is super simple. We're just going to chunk a lot of marjoram in a jar of honey and let that stand aside. The honey is going to start to extract all that goodness, it's going to absorb the aroma, and then you can use this honey in your tea just before bedtime as a relaxant, or otherwise you can just use this in lots of sauces and dressings and other good things, because this is a delicious, that's a new word, this is a delicious addition to your kitchen just as a little flavor booster. For a 300 ml or 10 fluid ounces jar, I used about 2 handfuls of fresh marjoram leaves. I simply placed those in a sterile jar and then poured over the honey in batches, mixing in between pores to release air bubbles. The herbs will float to the top over time, so you need to make sure they stay submerged by mixing it with a clean spoon. You can then just store this on the shelf, preferably of course in a dark, cool space, and this just keeps for forever. This is going to be very delicious and I can't wait to use this. This infused honey is great to stir into hot tea and has a very calming effect, so it's perfect to consume if you're feeling slightly stressed or maybe just before going to bed. Just a quick intermezzo to talk to you about our retreat. We are going to host our next retreat, at least where there are spots available, in October this year still. So if you want to join us here in Portugal and do some great farm-to-table cooking, visit a farm, get a farm tour, get to know us and all of that stuff, be sure to sign up. And if you're from far away, if you're planning on coming from far away, know that the dates for 2026 are also up and they are fastly getting booked full. So don't miss your chance and click this link if you want to go check out the dates on our website. Alright, so this next thing up is something that I came up with that is very similar to what schroeg is for coriander. And if you haven't seen that episode, I'm going to link it here above. So if you want to know how to preserve coriander, we have a video up on that as well. But we're working with marjoram here and I got inspired by the schroeg recipe. So what I did was I basically tweaked it so that now it's a mushroom marjoram. I'm going to call it schroeg because I don't have another name for it. And what we're going to do is we're going to make it shelf stable. So we're going to cook it until there's no more liquid inside, just before it starts burning. So that's a tricky little point. Be careful. And then you have a delicious oil that you can add into salads, bean salads, pasta salads. You can put it on roasted potatoes. You could even put it onto meat, just, you know, when you're finishing it in the oven, for instance, on a nice roast. It's delicious. I'm going to show you how to make it. For this marjoram garlic party, you're going to need a clean 500 ml or 17 fluid ounces sterile jar, 2 cups of dried mushrooms. We still have parasol mushrooms, but porcini would also work here. 2 teaspoons of black peppercorns, 3 full hands of clean garlic cloves, 3 tablespoons of tomato flakes, about 4 handfuls of marjoram leaves stripped from their stem, and about 250 ml of olive oil. In a good food processor, combine the garlic, the marjoram leaves and the black peppercorns. Pulse this until completely fine. Put this mixture into a small saucepan and add the olive oil. Then turn on the heat and warm the mixture through for about 8 minutes, or until there are no more sizzling bubbles. This should be done on a super slow heat because burning the marjoram will make this entire thing extremely bitter. After about 5 minutes, add the pulverized dried mushrooms. Mix well and then slowly heat through for another minute. Add the tomato flakes. Slowly heat through for another minute before transferring it into a sterile jar. Clean this up for a moment. You're gonna need a wide mouth funnel. This mixture can be used as a flavor maker on things like a fried egg or salads. Don't use too much at a time as it is quite potent. If you have done it well, there should be no moisture left in the mixture and therefore you can store it on the shelf in a dark and cool space. It keeps for about 2 months. All right, I'm back for the next round. Let me just put on an apron real quick. Another great way to use marjoram is what we're about to discuss here, of course. So today I'm going to show you how to use the floral scent of marjoram in the best of ways, at least I find personally. So marjoram has quite a floral, citrusy flavor or scent pattern really. And so the way that I like to use that is in sweet drinks. Now, sweet drinks in our household are kombuchas. The healthy version of iced tea is what I like to call it. And we have this mother load here. We drink it all the time. We let it get very acidic and we drink it as is, maybe mixing with a bit of water. That's the healthiest way. But sometimes we like to treat ourselves and we do a second fermentation round with a bit of sugar and then some aromatics. So that's what I'm going to show you right now. Don't be put off by the jellyfish that is the SCOBY. SCOBY stands for symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast, and that is what this jellyfish is in the kombucha. It is what converts sugars into acid and creates that delicious flavor. So let's just be happy it exists, okay, and not get too weirded out by it. What we're gonna need is a clean jar with a lid, some unrefined sugar, a spoon for mixing, a little bit of marjoram, sorry, half of it fell down, but we need that bunch. And I'm going to use 1 lemon. That's all you need. And then we're going to, of course, need a bit of time. And if you don't have a kombucha mother at home, then I have an article up on our website on how to take care of kombucha, how to get it started, you're gonna have to get a SCOBY somewhere. But once you've got that in your household, it's super simple, okay? If you're not familiar, read the article. I'll leave the link in the description. We are going to start off by adding 3 heaped tablespoons of unrefined sugar into the sterile bottle. Then you're going to slice up half of the lemon into thin half moons. Those then can be added into the bottle as well. And then with a clean, but not a metal, preferably serving spoon, I'm gonna take myself a bit of this kombucha. Not much yet. About 2 ladles. I'm gonna shake it. Shake it, shake it. You just really wanna dissolve all those sugars. This is the time to introduce the marjoram. And then colander back in. And on comes the rest of the kombucha. It is of key essence that you only let this kombucha infuse for 1 day max, otherwise the kombucha will turn bitter, so you just want that floral scent. Now I have some cold dark tea with sugar already standing aside to fill this up, because I knew I was going to be using this. I'm gonna top that up. Gotta feed the SCOBY. And back she goes. Stay healthy, mama. So now that the lid is on tightly, I'm gonna shake it a little more. Beep, 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 beep. And the reason that we have a lid on it is because we want it to carbonize, meaning that we want little bubbles to get trapped inside of this bottle so that when we open it, we hear a delicious and then we're gonna pour it over some ice and drink it outside in the sun, because we live in the good life. And it's gonna smell amazing. That's basically the point of the marjoram in here. And trust me when I say, this is an unexpectedly delicious, refreshing drink. So I'm gonna be honest here, because my kombucha actually ended up standing on the counter for 4 days due to some stress here on the farm with the animals and the garden, and it totally slipped my mind that it was already standing there. So the explosion here was intense, and the flavor was nice, but as I said, a little bit too bitter. So if you're gonna try this at home, don't forget about your kombucha and take out the herbs or strain it after just 1 day. To make this very simple massage oil, just start with 200 ml or 6.8 fluid ounces of pure organic coconut oil. Heat that ever so slightly in a small saucepan on the lowest of heats and add in 2 handfuls of marjoram leaves. Once the coconut oil is completely liquid, take it off the heat and now with a stick blender, blend the herbs into the oil until they are completely chopped up into small little bits. This will help release all the beneficial polyphenols and oils from the marjoram. Then strain the warm oil into a clean jar, or in this case, in the same jar that the coconut oil came from. Let it settle so any of the plant debris will fall to the bottom, and then pour the clean oil into a sterile jar, leaving the bottom with the debris behind. Let it solidify in the fridge. Coconut oil turns solid below 24 degrees Celsius, and I store it in the fridge if I do not plan on using it soon, or I transfer it to the bedside table where it gets up to room temp when I plan on using it on Philippe's knees or legs after a long day of work. Marjoram, definitely a great herb. I hope that these recipes inspired you. I'm very curious to hear what you guys are doing with marjoram at home in your households, or if you have any other great recipes out there, drop them in the comments below. If you want to keep watching, check out our herbal series that we've got up right here, or if you want to start cooking some delicious stuff, check out this right here. Our dog is agreeing, as you can hear. Alright, and that was it for today's episode. If you like our content and you want to support our channel, definitely hit that subscribe button, and even more importantly, hit that notification bell, because then you will be notified when we've got new videos coming up. See you on the next one. The Farming Chefs, peace out.